So Battlefield 6 is right around the corner, and with that, maps have been a big part of the discussion, both remakes, current maps that we have, additional maps to come. And I figured it would be fun to kind of have a bit of a speculative video about maps that not only I would like to see return, got money on probably returning, and kind of everything in between. Based on how Battlefield 6 is on their sort of approach to the maps that we've seen already, what their ideology is on maps and the game itself, pulling from Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4 inspiration, I figured I'd take that as the baseline, because man, I'm not gonna lie, pulling from both of those two games, I was in this motherfucker stressing, bro. I could not figure out what I wanted to do. To put it here first, we got about 12 maps that I've got 5 categories, 6 categories, something like that. 2 maps each, one from Battlefield 3, one from Battlefield 4. We got pretty much everything from fan favorites, personal picks, some underrated gems, and a couple honorable mentions in there. And bro, like I said, this was a hard one, and I was only picking from 2 games, and it was still hard. I figured we start off first with the for sure remakes. If I had to put money on it, let's say EA or DICE or Battlefield Studios told us that they were going to be remaking one other map from Battlefield 3 and one other map from Battlefield 4. From the list that I looked at, I came up with my Battlefield 3 pick. I picked Caspian Border. Yeah, some might say it's a safe option, but I figured Caspian Border has kind of like what Battlefield 6 is implying, but it's like on that, I guess, like bigger scale. I would kind of put it maybe closer to like a Liberation Peak. I would kind of put it on that type of scale. It's not super huge, but it's got enough room. You got tanks, jets, ground vehicles, and infantry stuff. And from what it seems like Battlefield 6 is really trying to have a good mix of like infantry on vehicle type scenario with a focus more on the infantry side. So also Caspian Border is kind of like a known classic, especially from Battlefield 3. So for me, if I'm putting my money on it, I will go Caspian Border. Now Battlefield 4 was a bit of a harder one, but again, if I had to put my money on it, I'm gonna go Siege of Shanghai. Right now, listen, before you get your pitchforks or whatever, because I know some people hate that map. Again, see, if you think Battlefield 4, especially a couple maps, Siege of Shanghai has to be up there, bro. It has to be up there. I mean, everybody knows about the big tower in the middle. It's been in like all the trailers, you know. From that like sort of core experience of at least what Battlefield 6 is offering up front, it looks like, again, they're gonna go for that like heavy infantry focus with some good mix of vehicle stuff. And I know Siege of Shanghai doesn't have jets, but it has like a lot of helicopter play and a lot of like tank IFV play, and even like boat stuff, which, where's the boat stuff in Battlefield 6? I need that, bro. The only thing that is kind of putting me off from this pick, even though I'm putting it in like the for sure remake category, obviously there's no like real Levolution in Battlefield 6. Like there's no real one big ticket item that's happening. So the only thing that would be a little weird on that was like, how would they then handle the whole skyscraper effect? Which, if you ask me, I say keep it up and just add more playable floors or some shit like that. In my opinion, and from a lot of people who share this opinion, the map for Siege of Shanghai becomes easily worse when the tower comes down. It's cool watching it come down, but once it's like flattened, that like C flag area is ass, bro. It's so trash. It's so good, especially with like how much verticality is on that map. Just having like a big middle area that's just flat, trash. So if you ask me, for Battlefield 6, keep the tower, don't knock it down. You got the first floor, you got the roof, and maybe like another floor or two connecting the first floor and like a second floor, and then like the roof and then like a floor below that. That's what I would say. But again, if you ask me, for sure remake maps, if I had to put my money on it, for Battlefield 3, Caspian Border; for Battlefield 4, Siege of Shanghai. That's what I gotta say. But listen, let's be honest. There's a lot of maps that's coming from Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, and there's gonna be a lot of overhyped maps that everybody's gonna be screaming for. I think if you're looking at Battlefield 3 and 4 specifically, there's really 2 or 3 that jump out, and these are the 2 that I picked. Technically three, but the 2. starting off first, let me just preface this and say I'm biased because I fucking hate this map because we played it 90 million times. And the Battlefield 4 category for overhyped, I'm going Go Mud Railway, bro. Dude, listen, I get it. There's so many vehicles, there's jets, there's tanks, all kinds of stuff like that, right? And like even like the train bit is kind of cool. The massive vehicle playground is fun, but like again, as an infantry first person, it's hell, bro. That map is hell. And like unless you like have to be running engineer unless you're in a vehicle, otherwise you're cooked. You're cooked. You're gonna get straight by a jet, blown up by a tank, blown up by the artillery truck, ran over by somebody in the Jeep, bro. As a vehicle playground, it's great. As an infantry person, it's kind of ass because even then, like you got like the top hill area, like village area, that shit gets flattened like by half match. Listen, some people might disagree on that, but if you ask me, overrated, Go Mud Railway is my pick for Battlefield 4 overrated. Also, moving into like Battlefield 3/4, as chaotic and as fun as they are, Metro and Locker are like a little overrated. Not saying I don't want to play on them, not saying I don't want them, but if you really gotta be objective about it and you gotta pick a overrated map, I think Metro and Locker kind of fall in that. I know I'm kind of cheating on this one because it's two, but realistically they operate the same way. They're just the infantry only meat grinder map, super tight knit, super close quarter. Like I said, it could be fun. Some people fucking hate them just because how chaotic they are. I like playing on them, especially Metro. And even speaking of Metro specifically, I like Metro more in the rush category than I do in like the domination TDM, like conquest kind of category. If you ask me, if I had to pick one or the other, I would take Metro over Locker, but that's just me. Now, moving outside of the overrated maps, I wanted to go into the like, dare I say, iconic remakes. This is kind of something where it was like, again, if you're thinking of these games or you're thinking of like maps, more often than not, it's probably going to come up in your conversation at some point, right? Again, little bit of a controversial take, but it's pretty iconic to me for two reasons. With the Battlefield 4 pick, I'm gonna go Zavar 311. Listen, I know some people think it's not the greatest, but I think it's a bona fide classic, bro. I think it's a Battlefield 4 staple. It kind of has everything that you're looking for outside of the like water combat, but still it has like a lot of vehicle play, but it has a ton of infantry like viability as well, which again I think goes pretty hand in hand with the Battlefield 6 map strategy. Specifically what comes to mind for me obviously is like the two big warehouses that kind of like connect to each other, and then you have like on the US side it's like that little like watchtower clock tower thing with the big dome ball, and then on the Russian side you got like the little like barracks house area. A lot of infantry space over there, and then like a good like poke and play with some of the vehicle stuff if you're an infantry person too. Also, speaking of Zavar 311, another reason why I feel like it's iconic as fuck, if you're an OG Battlefield 4 person, you know about the night version of Zavar 311, the night ops. That would go crazy Battlefield 6 with the like updated visuals and all that kind of stuff. We need more night maps. Need way more night maps. You would be surprised how much a day version versus a night version just like totally changes the whole feng shui of a map, bro. So another reason why I would consider that like an iconic remake. And now for my Battlefield 3 pick, you could argue this could go on overrated because it came up when me and my boys was talking about it, but for me it feels more iconic, again, especially as an infantry person and as a rush person. Some people might already know what I'm about to say, but dude, Dama Van Peek has to be here, bro. It has to. I mean, you got like probably one of the most iconic rush maps of all times. Obviously, everybody loves the base jumping part, right? The base jumping part is fire, is flames. But even like the initial part where you like go up the hill and you fighting on like top of the mountain, and then like after you base jump and you fight through that long ass tunnel, dude, I think that map is like probably one of the greatest rush maps we've ever gotten in the franchise. Pretty criminal that we haven't gotten a remake of some capacity. I mean, they've even tried to like market it a little bit with that like 2042 trailer where like everybody's kind of like base jumping off the mountain. Come on, dude, like everybody knows what that is. So if you ask me, like I said, bro, iconic remake, Zavon 311 for Battlefield 4, Damavan Peak for Battlefield 3. Now again, like I said, a lot of these are kind of biased. I'm looking at them a little objectively, for at least for the position they're in. For this section, straight up personal picks for Battlefield 3, I'm going Scene, or Seine, however you pronounce it, Scene Crossing. That map is so good, bro. It's like a good little urban map, a good rush map, really infantry focused with like light vehicle stuff. You got like the IFV or the tank. Like, oh man, you got all the like apartment buildings you can run through and stuff like that, dude. I think like the little bridge section with like the water and the boat, that was fire, dude. I love Seine Crossing, however you pronounce it. I think it definitely could really fit with the Battlefield 6 formula. I think they could do a lot with it. I would love to see it come back. For Battlefield 4, there were a lot of options that like I was really struggling with. I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. This one's kind of out of left field. I'm gonna go Hammerhead, dude. The like from the Final Stand DLC for Battlefield 4. Something I noticed with like Battlefield 6, we got a lot of like urban or like deserty maps. It'd be cool to have like a little snow blizzard type map to flip up the feng shui, the environments. I think that'd be cool. And then again, there's a lot of options on Hammerhead. You got jets, helicopters, tanks, IFVs, like infantry transport vehicles, and you got a lot of good like infantry sort of options. You got like cave system, you got like a lot of the flags, at least like speaking from Conquest perspective, has like good infantry cover or good ways for like infantry to take on vehicles without getting immediately shredded, which again, as an infantry first player, I really appreciate. I think again, speaking on both of these maps, they just really fit that Battlefield 6 aesthetic, and at least Hammerhead has like a pretty good size to it. I know that's been like a common complaint between a lot of people for Battlefield 6. Seine Crossing is a little on the smaller end. But I think Hammerhead would be again have a good option to give infantry players a good space to play, good vehicle players a good space to play, and pretty much have like a good overall map size. Then moving on to like our last real section, I want to talk about some underrated maps. These ones again, I feel like don't get as much love as they deserve. Definitely could have a lot of shine, and obviously would probably fit in the Battlefield 6 ecosystem, right? Coming up first with my Battlefield 4 pick, I'm going to do Sunken Dragon. I think it's from the China Rising DLC. Dude, that map, crazy. Again, it's got like a really good infantry focus, tight infantry lanes. You know, you got the sunken like hotel and like the like little riverbed area. You got the big bridge. You got the like US spawn in the back that has like the little like buildings you can play in between, and then you got pretty much everything across the bridge that you can kind of dip and dive in between. You got the garage that you can play in. You got, I think, 2 IFVs and 2 like AH-6 like Overwatch helicopters type. Again, options for pretty much everybody. If you're a flyer, you can fly. If you're a tanker, you got a little truck or an IFV, and if you're an infantry person, you got a lot of options there as well. Think they could definitely do a lot with that. Again, speaking with like the Battlefield 6 map design sort of philosophy that we're seeing, definitely think that would fit as well. And again, it fits that like urban sort of like city vibe, which we've seen a lot of in Battlefield 6. I mean, we haven't seen New Sobek City or Saints Quarters, but we've seen like Iberian Offensive, Empire Bay. Whoa, I've been playing way too much Mafia. And what is that map called? The New York map, whatever the New York map is called. Yeah, a lot of city maps. So I feel like it would kind of just fit the molding. And then for my Battlefield 3 pick, might not be as remembered, but again, this is why I put it underrated. I'm gonna go Death Valley. Again, I think it's from the Armored Kill DLC from Battlefield 3. A lot of vehicle stuff, a lot of vehicle play. Again, another night map. Give us more night maps. Night maps are great. but a lot of good opportunity for infantry people to do their stuff as well. I think that would be again very plausible for Battlefield 6. A little bit bigger than some of the other maps that I mentioned, but again, speaks to some of those people who have some of those map size like concerns as well, where it's like some of these bitches are too small. Well, I think Death Valley, you pretty much have everything on that map. You got tanks, IFVs, jets, helicopters. I think the AC-130 is on that map. Like, I think that's enough said by itself, right? And then lastly, I wanted to do some honorable mentions just to give a quick nod, because again, I couldn't fit everything that I wanted to in here, but I feel like these definitely deserve a mention, hence the name. Starting off first, what some people might say is criminal that is here, but again, I couldn't fit everything. We're gonna go No Shar Canals. Pretty much like the shipment of Battlefield, but tight quarters. If you play it on TDM, at least infantry only, but it's got like a lot of space if you play Conquest and stuff like that. Probably one of the best maps that like has that like section about it. Definitely think that map has a lot of potential, especially for Battlefield 6. Good infantry play, good vehicle play. Coming with my Battlefield 4 pick, I'm gonna go Silk Road. Think there is a lot there to play with. Again, as much as I don't really vibe with it too much as like a straight infantry person, you got a lot of vehicle options, a lot of jets, a lot of tanks, IFV, stuff like that. Again, it's one of those maps where like you probably want to be running engineer if you're not using the vehicle anyway, but you have some good infantry options there as well, which I wanted to pick. And for my last honorable mention, might be a little bit cheating, definitely biased. Zeba Tower Operation 925. Give me the entire close quarters DLC from Battlefield 3. That shit was fire, bro. Does not get talked enough. Honorable mention and criminally underrated. Yes, it don't really got no vehicle options at all, but as a straight infantry duke it out type style maps, dude, they were so fire, bro. Again, like I said, criminally underrated. One of my favorite DLCs to play. If you weren't there for it or you didn't get to experience it, I feel so bad for you, because them bitches were fire. But yeah, that's my list of maps that I would like to see in Battlefield 6. A mix of remakes, some fan favorites, some personal picks, underrated gems, and a couple honorable mentions. Trust me, if I could talk about more, I would, but I don't want this to be like 3 hours. So, but if you would like to see more, please leave a like. Leave a comment down below on what some maps you would like to see, because there's a lot of great Battlefield maps. If you want to talk about it, let's have a conversation in the comment down below. If you want to see more, be sure to leave a like, and I'll catch y'all next time.